I'm here with Hank Hickox, who's the general manager of Bandon Dunes Golf Resort. Nice to have you with us.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking time out of what I know is a busy schedule with all the duties that are attendant with the general manager.
Thank you.
See, I always wonder what goes on behind so much going on.
I'm glad you think it's that way. It is some days, yeah.
Well, we'll keep everybody thinking that too. Bandon Dunes Golf Resort, when people who are not in this area hear those words, they conjure up images of just a fantastic place to come and play golf and just hang, which is totally true. As the general manager, how do you feel as far as knowing that you're involved with a place that's got such an incredible reputation around the world, not just in America, but around the world now?
Well, thank you. Every time the rankings for the golf courses come out, and because they have historically, right up to the May issue of Golf Digest, been pretty positive about us, I think it ratchets up the expectation level of our customers. So every now and then I'll have a sleepless night, thinking about how we're going to deliver on those promises that we've made to people after they've read these publications. Working for Michael Kaiser in sort of delivering on his vision here, this is really unique in a lot of respects. Even as a resort, it's unique because there's no real estate component. It is very public. There's no proprietary club. It's very much like being overseas in some small community in Scotland or Ireland. It's like being at a public golf course in the United States. We look across the audience every day and we don't know whether someone has saved up their money for their lifetime experience or whether they flew in on a Gulf Stream that they own. They're all the same to us. There's no pedigree. It is very public. That's one of the reasons why we're so involved in the USGA events and amateur golf. Very much a part of the spirit of this place. We're able to focus on the avid golfer. We're able to define our audience in a sense, and we have the advantage of getting to know our customer a little better than you would in a resort that has that is less focused. If we don't have a falconry here, we don't have a equestrian center. We don't have a spa. This is all about golf.
You mentioned the public nature of it. It seems to me that Kemper Sports, and you're vice president of Kemper Sports as well, began the nature of Kemper Sports Management was tied to a great public golf course, Kemper Lakes, the first PGA championship at a public golf course. That tradition being carried on here. You mentioned that you've had great amateur events. The Mid-Am has been here, the Oregon, the Curtis Cup, and you're about to have the
regional events.
And you're about to have the Pub Links course, two, men and women, right?
Amateur public links and the women's amateur public links. First time they've been held simultaneously in one location.
So it makes you smile a little bit. That has to feel just so good. To say the first of anything, really, but certainly those kinds of events has got to be a thrill.
It's an honor. It's a privilege. Again, our audience being the avid golfer, maybe not as many people watching television every day are familiar with the amateur public links or the women's amateur public links, but the avid golfer is. And for us to be able to have the privilege of hosting those events is a rare opportunity, and we're going to give it 150% to make sure it goes well. We'll have people coming from all over the country, bellwether people from the world of golf, and fans and contestants. We will deliver everything we can to make that go well, and hopefully we'll have more events like that.
Does it pose a certain challenge to you as a GM and the rest of the staff when you know you're bringing in what I would assume would be a really pretty big number attached to something like the Pub Links Championship?
We have a community that's completely supportive. So there are homes in Bandon that are opening up to players, and there are bed and breakfasts and small motels along the ocean, and in our other neighboring community, North Van Coos Bay, there are a number of motor hotels. So there is an adequate supply of lodging, and there are a number of gateways to get here. The most widely used, of course, is North Bend And we will have jet service beginning June 9th, which is a first for us.
Into Bandon?
Not into Bandon, into North Bend.
Got it.
North Bend is the regional airport. It's about 25 minutes from here. And it has both general aviation and scheduled air service. So it is our gateway. There is a small airport in Bandon proper, but it really can only take smaller aircraft. So we rely on North Bend. So, we're all really excited about this. It's a labor of love. We're going to, I think we all believe in the concept so much that whatever the challenges are, we're going to be enjoying taking care of these people. It is in the middle of, high season. There is displacement of regular business, but we're committed to these amateur events. So the revenue displacement and the cost of doing it are just a part of our existence.
Well, it sounds everything else that's attached to the resort there's a lot tied to the goals, the lofty goals that were set. Let me just bring this to a personal note, if I can, for you. You're a fourth generation Oregonian,
yes,
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. You've been all over. I just took a guess, really. You've been all over. You've been to Kiowa, and you've been to Turning Stone, and you've been to Silverado, and you've been different places. For you, this must be, I would assume, another kind of just the satisfaction of being an Oregonian and being able to participate in what's happening here and what will continue to happen here, obviously, has to be really satisfying.
I think for those of us that are native Oregonians, born in the state, and for people from Coos County, this is one of the greatest things that's ever happened in our state, because it's like a concierge service, really. 65% or more of the people that come here come from outside the Northwest. I mean, we've got some great resorts, Sun River, Salishan, and there's some wonderful places, but no one has ever drawn a national market and now becoming an international market like this resort has. This is a first. And, from the governor right on through, county leadership and city leadership, entire state is proud of what's going on here. And, people take great pride in wearing our logo when they travel, because they get recognized by people when they're in the airport. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's being an Oregonian, being a part of this, and having had the opportunity to manage resorts outside the state over the years, there probably is even more a sense of pride with me and with others like me that are here. So.
And I know that the Kemper Sports connection to Steve Lesnick was such a big part of the start of this project with Mike Kaiser, and his son was the first general manager, Josh,
Absolutely.
I believe. So on all fronts, it seems like you're tied to the best of what's happened here.
Kemper Sports was involved here from inception. They didn't just come on board when the property opened. Josh was out here a year and a half before the property opened. His father was here, I think, the first or second time Mike visited the site. They have a long-standing relationship. There are the Kaiser-Lesnick relationship in partnership, ownership of other properties is. There are several instances of that throughout our company. So, Kemper Sports has been a huge part of this. Our president, Josh Lesnick, has devoted his life to the industry and is an excellent communicator and really has his finger on the brand, probably better than anybody I've ever known. And I came here in my mid-50s, and I thought, I'm a pretty seasoned guy when it comes to the resort business. I've learned more here than I ever learned before in any other location.
So that's interesting, too, that you don't feel like, well, I know it all. You're constantly kind of growing. And
so, the nature of our management style is consensus, and the owner is very hands-on along with the management company, and we're always exploring alternative ideas, and usually the end product is not just one person's idea. There's a guy that washes dishes up in the main lodge, and he takes great pride in washing dishes, and So his customer are the servers and the cooks. You know, he doesn't actually make contact with the guest, but he's every bit as much a part of delivering the experience, because he's making sure that his coworkers are enjoying his end product, and they leave with a smile on their face and go out to the customer. So there's a lot of people behind the scenes that never actually, you know, are able to have one-on-one contact with our clientele, who support those who do, and it's like a family. Mm-hmm. I hope. I pray. We work hard at that too, and so we will continue to try and earn what you have just articulated about us, because every day is a new day.
Yep. Well, we're thrilled to be here, and thanks for being such a great host.
You're welcome. Come back many times, please. You know, they're like children to me, and I don't know that anyone.
I have a favorite children.
I got one.
You do not. You do not.
I got one that was, it's, you know, more troublesome, but I don't think I love him any the less. You know, now he's a lieutenant in the Army. The Army's going to handle that for me. Yeah, although I pray he doesn't go in harm's way.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of us think of Bandon Dunes a little bit, just because it overlaps with the main central name, but it also loops back after 9, and it's the original course. Right. So you have a bit of a feeling about that. But then along comes Pacific. I remember when Tom Doak was doing Pacific, when he was here as the architect of Pacific, and Bandon Dunes had gotten so many accolades, and he was saying to me when we were standing out on number 6 at Pacific, gosh, you know, I know this is going to be a great golf course, but it'll never get the recognition that Bandon Dunes has gotten. And of course, right. Pacific Dunes is a sparring partner with Pebble Beach. So, you know, I love Pacific Dunes. Along comes Bandon Trails, you know, a bit of a departure from the first two. And you've got a guy like Bill Coore and Ben Crenshaw, two guys that are just being around those people is, you know, awe-inspiring, and to, you know, Bandon Trails is its own destination. People come here just to play it. So, you know, I love it. And then along comes Old MacDonald, which is like a tour of going overseas, like going to Scotland or Ireland, and it's got a great risk-reward potential. You know, it seems like it's wide open. You could just hit the ball anywhere, and then if you take a chance, you're going to get burned. You know, and if you're not careful, and yet the people who play it from a course management standpoint score really well and come away with a good feeling. So it's pretty hard to say.
I understand.
Can I ask you one more thing? The new course that you mentioned, the Coore Crenshaw, the new course that's being worked on right now. Tell us a little bit about it. We saw it. We saw the sand and the flags in, and it's pretty exciting to know that there's a new experience coming right there. It's going to be different than anything else that's here.
Yeah, the preserve, as we call it today. You know, I suppose we reserve the right to change that name as we get closer, but that seems to be the name. 13-hole par 3, untold 50 yards to 220 yards. For one thing, it's on probably the best site we've got. It hangs out in the dunes with great views of the ocean from every hole, and looks back on the other golf courses. It's completely, you know, an environmental project in a sense that it winds through some rare plant life, the most notable being the silver Placilia, which is almost extinct, which we're going to restore. The proceeds from the operation of the preserve, the profits will be used to help restore that plant and for other environmental causes. It's another commitment by Mr. Kaiser to the environment, and he has other properties not contiguous to Bandon Dunes, which involve nature preserve or view corridors and so on that are going to be made, for the public. And so that, again, the proceeds from the preserve will be used to help sustain those. Pretty neat.
Yeah.
Pretty cool
It's great.
idea.
That is great.
And then, from a marketing standpoint, well, I've played 18 and I don't think I can play another 18. Well, okay, let's go over to the preserve. But the trophy seeker is still going to play that second 18. So we don't see it displacing anything. We see it as just another alternative for people that aren't now playing the second round, or maybe they'll take their first round there.
Right.
Either way, yeah.
I think it's interesting because having played them all now, I believe I like the trails a lot.
Yeah.
And I think Crenshaw Core strategically have the best collection of par threes of all the courses.
Well,
so now to know that they're going to do 13 of them out here in this great piece of land, I think it's going to be very, very cool.
That's a wonderful comment. I've not heard that from anybody yet. Yeah, my wife would agree with you because she did a hole-in-one on number 2. Yeah. Well, that was a great night. It was an expensive night.
Yeah. But worth it.
It was worth it. Oh, yeah. We're still reveling in that. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And I don't feel the same.